So is Ruben Amorim finally getting some sort of shape and structure in possession, out of possession? And pre-season's been all right, hasn't it? It's been all right. So far, I thought the first 45 against, especially the first 30 minutes against Everton was all right, even though the quality on the ball was not great. The pressing structure, the couple of movements that they had, especially down that right-hand side, I think Diallo and Mbeumo combining, we'll show you a couple of little clips in the game today of them two combining. I think that right-hand side is going to be absolutely lethal for Man United. But if you weren't aware, they kind of shaped up in a 4-4-2. Now, in possession, it was more of a 3-1-6 with that traditional back three. However, out of possession, they flopped into a 4-4-2, which had Dorgu coming at left back, Euro playing as a right back, and then Diallo kind of playing as a right winger. And then Bruno sitting across on that left-hand side with Menu, Agati in the middle and leaving Cunha and Mbeumo up front. And I do think potentially with maybe Dorgu coming in, sorry for Dalot, it was Dalot last night, but Dorgu coming in for Dalot, perhaps maybe Martinez for sure, even though Luke Shaw's been tremendous at sort of like that left centre-half, arguably our strongest lineup. So in today's video, we're going to kind of try and put in a Manchester United 3-1-6 in possession and a 4-4-2 out of possession. Now, if the rumours are right, a video's been out on FM Console, a post was on the SI forums, someone else has tweeted it today. There's a lot of news going around that rules and stuff are changing and there's going to be more in and out of possession. So making tactics, hopefully in the future, will be a little bit easier if they're not rumours and they're actually real things that are happening in the game. However, FM is quite tricky at the moment to try and get the in and out possession, and the main thing we're going to focus on today is can we get that 4-4-2 out of possession. Now that's going to be relatively easy with the tactic that I've got on screen. This is the tactic that we've started with. We've played a full season. Here are the results, as you can see. So the results are good. It's a decent tactic. Man United fans, we would take that this season, won't we, finishing in third. However, just a couple of things that I'm not entirely happy on. So we're going to go back in time. We're going to go back to when I saved the game in sort of like September, August time. We're going to play an extra game. We're going to make a tactical tweak and then just see how that works in the match engine. Because basically the only issue that we've got is Dorgu, the left back. Now at the moment, as I said, I've got him as like a complete wing back on support. Even though Dalot was not overly aggressive down that left-hand side, we know when Dorgu does it, he's going to be super aggressive. And for me right now, as you can see, we've won possession, Dorgu would be here. Now, Diallo on that right-hand side, Ahmad, we've put him as a right winger in the midfield area, not the attacking mid, just the right mid. The issue that we've got is that if we move Dorgu up on that left-hand side, when he's a defensive winger, he will not go back in and make a back four. You can kind of get round it a little bit sometimes with man marking, but the man marking is definitely not great in FM. So to get that constant 4-4-2 structure when teams are trying to build, we need Dorgu to be at least, you know, a left back or maybe even a left wing. But as you can see, like he's not even bothered getting in. Now this might be a little bit down to the support role. However, in those scenarios, I still expect him to get a little bit higher. We had tweaked with the left back and he's very slow at kind of moving into positions. Look, now we want him here. If we have him here, that will then allow Bruno, who's playing as that AP, to drift inside in possession, because we really want Bruno in these areas, not these wide areas. So that's something that we really need to try and fix. However, I've been super happy with how it's looked, in particular these two down here, Mbeumo and Ahmad. Euro getting involved a little bit. Mbeumo in this sort of like right half space where he is. Ahmad's going to take a lot of attention on that right-hand side. By the way, tremendous goal from a guy. He's going to take a lot of attention on that right-hand side, which just frees maybe Mbeumo up a little bit, pushing back maybe their wide players, kind of isolating their left full-back at times, sucking him out as Ahmad goes through. Mbeumo finishes. So if we just watch that again, this is what I mean. Watch Mbeumo's run. Where is he? The 13. So Ahmad's got the left back pinned. Look where their left winger is in McGinn, all the way back there. Look at that space now. That space for him to get in front of the centre halves. And that's what we got a little bit last night with Ahmad's kind of sucking out that left wing back, that left full back, and allowing that space for Mbeumo to at times maybe to go 1v1 against a centre half. And again, the two kind of combining. So he's Dorgu's kind of there. But I think he would be there. By the way, Agate's never got that in his locker, has he? But we'll take it. And once again, this is the one. This is the one that I was trying to talk about. He sucked across that fullback, and look at that space for now and Mbeumo to isolate Pau Torres, and he's in. He's in. Squares, Cunha, beautiful. I think it really worked really well last night. I don't think there was a structural problem with the team against Everton. It was more just the quality in terms of being a little bit sloppy. Unfortunate with the goals, with the goal as well. In terms of an own goal ricocheting off Heaven after Diallo had come in and made a slide tackle. So, yeah, structure's good. As you can see, it's looking good down that right-hand side. Only issue is what to do with this left-back. We've got sit now and run from position. So if we can just get Dorgu going a little bit higher, a little bit quicker, well, what we're going to do is we're going to move him up into there and play him on attack. We might even do overlap left. I don't think we'll do it to start with. We'll see what we get during the game. And then as we go, we'll then have a look at maybe changing it if need be. Right, so it's Leeds United. So this is the change that we're going to make for now. I will have these tactics, by the way. All the tactics will be available for the Patreons, link down in the description. We will go through all the player roles and instructions at the end and go through the reasonings why a couple of role changes and why we're playing as we are. So, should we put... He needs to be wing back on attack, doesn't he? I think complete wing back on attack. Is there anything else in there that we could change? Yeah, maybe run wide with the ball. And just hopefully that wide running will allow Bruno to... Because really we want it to be a little bit of a front three or a little bit of a 1-2 with Cunha and Mbeumo. Okay, we are playing Leeds United. Leeds. Okay, so what we don't want to do... Can you see Diallo's position, Ahmad? That's fine, because we want that 4-4-2 look. So we've kind of got our 4-4-2 Bruno, Ugarte, Menu, Ahmad, Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw, and then Dorgu. So that's fine. I think if we had Dorgu, he would kind of be leaving. That would be a problem there with that number 11 Harrison. That would be a problem. So that's why we can kind of maybe get away. Look, so he sits in there, not perfectly, but yeah, he's in. Look, he's in, playing as a left back. Brilliant. It's what we do in possession's my only little issue. And if we can just get him high enough. I think hopefully with FM26 coming out, and if those changes are to be believed, then maybe this could be a lot more easy to kind of work around. Like in possession, he would be like a winger, and then in defence, he's like a left back. So it's super hard to do that at the moment and to get it right. So the defensive winger doesn't work anyway. If people want to suggest that, it just does a little bit more. Whoa, could ya want to do that? It doesn't work. They kind of get in. Now, Man United did go into a back five at times, but it was when they were defending that final third. So Diallo would eventually go into that back to make a five. But generally in build-up, it wouldn't be. I've got Cunha as a trequartista, just allowing to roam, go high, coming deep sometimes to collect. It's, funnily enough, turned into one of my favourite roles after all this time. But it needs to be a centre forward. If you want to play trequartista, there's a video coming out tomorrow as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that, because that is all the fancy roles. Engange, Raumdeuter, Register, Engange, they've scored all those roles into one tactic. One successful, balanced tactic. That is not that's not an issue. I thought when it came from that right-hand side, that would be an issue. That he's been caught. It was just poor technical defending rather than anything positional. I would like to see us, let's just put it on comprehensive. I just want to see us, I'm not too bothered about the result because I've actually done the simulation already. This is kind of going back in time. Just want to see if we can get Dorgu a little bit higher up when in possession. And that will then move, but it's all Leeds United. We'll all move. That will then move, hopefully, Bruno inside a little bit more. Bruno had actually had a really good season. 17 goals, 5 assists in the league. Cunha had about 12 goals, 5 assists. Mbeumo had a nice mix, 14 goals, 10 assists. And then Diallo was actually quite poor. He had like maybe 4 and 5 or something like that across the season. Right, we want to see what we do from a goal kick. Really. I've just realised my fan's on. So if you've heard that constant buzzing for the past 20 minutes of the video, then you know why. I've turned it off now. It's warm in here today. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. Woo! Ugarte scores absolute bangers in FM. He did score maybe 1 or 2 decent goals last year. He definitely scored 1 good goal. It was against Everton. Bit of a half volley. Ahmad's going to be so dangerous for United on this right-hand side this season, with Mbeumo playing in that sort of like half space. So the defensive thing is not a problem. He's tracking Harrison like you'd want him to do. So even though we've got him as a wing-back rather than in that full-back area, he's going to do it. I think this is the thing with FM. You've kind of got to go two ways. You've got to go one way, and either pick, there's always going to be something that's not perfect. I think this is probably going to be the best balance, as I said, because Diallo on that right-hand side doesn't go in to make a 5. And I think you would get caught a little bit too much if you played defensive wingers and wingers instead of wing-backs. I think you get caught down both sides and your centre-halves would get stretched across the pitch. Leeds are counting on us really well. Onana's spilled it. Good break though. Ahmad's always in really good positions to pick up it out of possession. Right. That's okay, even though they started, so that's good. So it's allowing Bruno, to be really narrow now. I think if he was a left back, he would probably be a little bit deeper. Yeah, I'm up because that's where Bruno is. In there, slip him, Bruno. Can we get a switch in? We're going the other way, that's fine. See, that's so much better, innit? That is so much better. So he's an outlet now for a switch, right? We've lost the ball, so he's getting back in. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. Simulated the rest of the game, and it ended up actually ending 6-3. So we'll have a little look. Dorgu actually gets an assist. He gets 2 assists by the looks of it. So this was the opening goal of the game. Cunha, lovely finish. Right, into the second half. These are the goals that you haven't seen. So here's Dorgu. So this is where we wanted him to dribble wide. Remember, we got that play instruction on. What a cross. What a finish. Bruno a bit special from a free kick. Oh, he's at the bar. Cunha's in. Taps it in. Trequartista / Poacher there. See, look where he is. He's getting ahead of... Well, he isn't now because Harrison's been tracked to Fernandes. Beautiful finish. Amorim'S pulling out that fullback on that side that we spoke about. That'll be key for Manchester United. This is where he is. Look where Dorgu is now. Yeah, that's so much better. Yes. Happy with that. Right. So, Patreons, it is now available for you to download. Link down in the description if you'd like to support the channel. That would be awesome. Everyone else, we're going to go through all the player instructions before we finish. Right. Sweeper keeper on defend for Onana. I wanted it to be simple. I'm praying to God if we sign one player this season, realistically, I would love it to be Donnarumma. I would love it to be Donnarumma. And then we'll go and try and sign another central midfielder next season. I think we've got enough in the squad to kind of finish top 6, top 7 with that midfield, with Ugarte and Menu, Fernandes coming in and not playing, doesn't need to be a lot of rotation in there with the lack of sort of like European football. So, yeah, right. Onana, sweeping keeper on defend. Yoro, inverted fullback on defend with Delict, central defender on cover. Now, I've done this because then when we make the back 3, he will be naturally a little bit deeper. All right, he'll be the deeper of the 3. That's what you generally get to the middle centre half. Now, Luke Shaw, because we're playing part of an offset back 3, back 4, I can't play him as a wide centre back. So what I have done is Ball playing defender on stopper because he loves. Amorim wants his wide defenders to go in there and engage. Ball playing, what I would maybe do is get him to man mark strikers and stuff, and he'll deep line strikers, maybe even high number 10s to go in there and press and mark. So dribble more, stay wider in possession, so we get that. He was so good at carrying into those areas last night. Just stay fit, Luke. Just stay fit. Dorgu, complete wing back, on attack, run wide with ball. And that's where we'll hopefully see that assist that we got. That actually worked perfectly, didn't it? So I'm really happy with how that's looking. Diallo, I could have gone defensive wing. I just thought winger, but cutting side with the ball, super important. We want him on that left foot, kind of comes into these areas, and that's what we want. Try and pull that full back out, remember. Just on support. Menu, deep line playmaker on support, I suppose. It could be even a basic CM central midfielder. Nothing too flash from him. Didn't see much from him last night. I suppose ideally a really good Kobe Menu would maybe be dribble more at the same time. Ball winning midfielder on support. If you watched Ugarte last night, super aggressive. I was thinking of dropping these 2 deep and having Ugarte and Menu been sort of like DMs with Ugarte being an anchor, but he was pressing extremely high. Fernandes, AP on support, run from position, sit narrower. We didn't need to put that overlap on, remember, but if you're finding that, then having him a little bit too wide, get the overlap on And what that'll do is it'll bring in that midfielder a little bit more, that IAP a little bit more, because they'll want to create that space for a Dargu to run into. Mbeumo, pressing forward on attack, stay wider, so he works that right space, right half channel a little bit. Remember that 1v1 against Pau Torres. And then the trequartista, Mateus Cunha. Into the team instructions, positive mentality, fairly wide. Now, I would do this according to who we're playing. If you're really happy with how your team's cooking, how your team's playing, get it up, get it as wide as you can. Play out of defence, slightly shorter passing, higher tempo. Man United was so good when that moved that ball quickly. Work the ball into box, run at defence. Cunha, Dorgu, Ahmad, even Diallo, Mbeumo, Cunha. Yeah, run at defence, boys. In transition, counter press and counter, distribute centre-backs, take short kicks, and out of possession, I have gone a little bit aggressive. They did do it at times, like a really good press. Cunha had a couple of good moments. Fernandes had a couple of good moments in terms of winning the ball high off Everton in that first half. So we've got that on. Step up more. That is Manchester United's 4-4-2 out of possession. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. It actually worked pretty well in FM. Yeah, are we excited, Man United fans? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And everybody, where are Man United going to finish? I'm going to go 6th. It's a big one. 6th. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Smash a like. See you later.